My name is Josue Rivas. I am Mexica and Otomi from Mexico City and from Guanajuato, Mexico. And I was born in Mexico and came here to the United States when I was 11 years old. A lot of my identity comes from not really believing in borders and really understanding this relationship that indigenous peoples have had since time immemorial, from south of the continent to the top of the continent and beyond that. So that's where I'm from. And I think that the future of humanity will be indigenous. So what I do, to be completely honest, I'm still trying to figure out what I do. At the root of it, I'm just trying to heal myself. And I'm just trying to find a way to shed light on things that are within me that I want to hopefully encourage other people to look into as well. So through the storytelling process and through engagement with community and really understanding how to co-create, that's the root of the work. As we tell stories and as we co-create with people, we are building relationships. And in that process, there is a unification of peoples to a certain degree. And it brings people closer together through a bridge and not through walls. A big part of my work and my practice, it comes back to, like I said, healing, and then also understanding that I'm making something for people I'll never meet. So a lot of the times, as I was, for example, when I was a Standing Rock and documenting that whole movement, I knew that those images were gonna be important in the present, but I also knew that generations after that, people will look back at those images and at that work and remember. That's a big part of this. I feel like I'm just in the beginning of it, It's not like, I feel like I just scratched the surface of what I can do with creativity and with innovation too. As I learn to co-create with community, I also understand that I'm not self-made, but that I am community-made. That when somebody acknowledges me and my work, that they're actually acknowledging me and my community and my ancestors as well. So my thoughts on adding my imagery and the imagery that we co-created, people use these things for their own need, right? And if we are using things that were not created and the process wasn't intentional or wasn't thoughtful, especially when it comes to indigenous imagery, then we are using something that doesn't really belong to us. And I think that's the part where it's hard to explain to people sometimes, that how we make things, it's much more important than the actual thing. That the process and how people feel afterwards, it's the real work. The image making process can actually be a healing process and not just a extraction process. What we decided to create during this collection was a collection that was intended especially for indigenous youth to be highlighted. And there were different elements to that. One was that we want to make sure that we are actively fighting against the stereotypes that we have about indigenous peoples, whether it is folks, thinking that every indigenous person wears a headdress or wears regalia, or that every indigenous person looks a certain way. We want to make sure that we, integrate this idea in this new paradigm of understanding how diverse and how beautiful really, and the beauty of indigenous youth, because that is the future of our society. Those kind of things are really important for me, and I wanted to make sure that this collection had those elements embedded in it, so that when people see this imagery and they see the tags and they see that this tag says indigenous youth or Native American youth or whatever it is, that they are using something that is not just the same old image that you see, right? And I think that that's on a larger scale and a first great step from Adobe to do that, because other people are gonna start following that. You gotta give it away in order to keep it. You gotta be willing to surrender to not having anything so that everyone has something. And I think that that's really important when we make imagery, because if we are able to leave with their hands empty, but with their hearts full, then we did our job. PLA relatives, my name is Josue Rivas, and I'm co-creating a collection for Adobe Stock.